Morning. My name's Amanda. I lead our children's ministry here. I have the honor of closing out our summer series. Pastor Matt is going to be back next week. If you haven't had the chance to look at the past, month, we have had some phenomenal communicators. Check out our website and go listen to them. I know God has something for you there. Now, school starts back tomorrow. Who's excited? Okay, guys. Okay, so obviously we have some mixed feelings, clearly. But hey, it's gonna be great. I know for our family, I've got some that are excited, some that are a little, more on the nervous side, especially one that's starting kindergarten. It's been such a great summer, great time together. And raise your hand if you have kids. Okay, so then you know what it's like doing the Tetris, like trying to fit everything into the vehicle. My husband and I, we have 6 kids ranging in age from 3 to 12. So it is definitely an experience anytime we go somewhere. And last year, we got to go to New York. And that was amazing. We got to do some really fun touristy things, which the people in New York will make fun of you for. But it was still really fun, and we got to spend some really, really good time with extended family. And at one of our family members' homes, we walk in, we're just excited just to be able to connect with everybody, and there's animals everywhere, okay? I know what you're thinking, though. If you know me, you know I love animals. So you're like, hey, that sounds like heaven for you, right? But this one is even more than what I'm accustomed to. And so there were a few dogs. Okay, I get that. And then there was so many birds, so many. And there were so many reptiles, okay? Everywhere there were animals, okay? In the area that you eat, they're just cages from top to bottom, every room. And my kids were really excited, okay? Because they felt like they were at a pet store. Oh, can I hold this one? Can I hold this one? And at one point, one of my kids asked, how many animals do you actually have? The response was, well, we've never actually counted all of them, but it's somewhere in the ballpark of 100. So I think most of us here today can agree that that's not normal, okay? So I'm just gonna be super honest, super transparent with you guys. I found myself being critical, okay, of the environment of the situation, because it was very, very clear that there was one party who was the one that welcomed the animals in, and it was the wife, okay? And the husband was very much not wanting all of these animals and would rather have none of them, okay? So it's kind of a sore spot there. And I remember thinking through this and being really critical, I don't understand that. How can you bring in so many animals when your spouse is not on board with that? That honestly is so dishonoring to them. That's really selfish, okay? And as I'm sitting here thinking through this, let me just say, nothing will take you from a place of pride and being critical quite like when God begins to point out similarities between you and that person over there that you're being critical with. Let me just tell you, God knocked me off my high horse right there, and I was definitely in a place of humility and conviction. It was not a fun spot, but God really began to move and work on me, starting with this time, to show me some areas in my own life that are not normal. We all have areas of our life that are just not normal, okay? Sometimes it's easier to identify those things in other people, but I can almost guarantee that your spouse sitting next to you, if you ask them, they would love to share with you the thing in your life that is not normal, okay? How can I identify some of those things? Maybe I've grown so familiar with this thing, I don't even know that it's not normal, okay? Let's talk. What's that thing that creates tension between you and your spouse? What's that thing that creates tension between you and your parents, you and your close friends? What's the thing that you do or you reach for when you are feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, or maybe when you're beginning to experience some feelings and emotions that you never learned how to sit in and process in a healthy way. These are some ways that we can identify what is that thing in my life that's not normal. In the book of John, chapter 5, we find a man who is at a place that's not normal, and he's sitting there in abnormal circumstances, situations, okay? So we're at a place called Bethesda. Everybody say Bethesda. If you can't tell, I know I said this, but I, love to teach, in kids ministry, and I love interactive, so feel free to talk and we can have a convo as we're doing this together. Okay, guys? So here we are at Bethesda, and we find that there's this man who is sick that's there. But he's not alone, right? There are a ton of other people surrounding this place, other people who are sick, who are paralyzed, who are blind, who are desperate to be healed. Because this particular place, rumor had it, was that when the water began to bubble or move, it was believed that an angel would come. That was a sign that they were stirring up that water, and that the first one in would receive the healing. Now, I said this in the last service, and I didn't get a great response, so I'm gonna assume that you guys are gonna be more honest than first service. Can you guys imagine how that would be? You know what it's like at a concert, when somebody gets who's singing or rapping, whatever, and they get close to the people, everybody is fighting to get there, right? So I wonder what that looked like when the water started to bubble or move and everybody's racing to get there faster, right? Can you imagine how intense that moment must have been? And honestly, how depressing it was for the 99% of people that were there that didn't get into the water first. Now let's focus a little bit more on this man. In verse 5, we read that this man had been sick for 38 years. And sometimes I just like to have a little bit of fun and turn years into days to kind of get a better picture of it. And so if we multiply, we see that that's 13,870 days. And by the way, if you ever doubted, you're a math nerd if you just calculated in your head to actually see if I was correct. Okay, but nobody has corrected me, so I assume that we're all on the same page and we can move forward. In verse 6, we see, when Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been there for a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be healed?" That's an interesting question, right? I see that you're sick. I know why people come here. Do you want to be healed? Have you ever had somebody ask you a question that they already know the answer to? Anybody? So students, some of you may have figured this out by now. Others may still be, figuring this out. When your parents, you just got home and your parents follow up with a couple questions hey, so how was it at Mark's house? What'd you guys do? And you kind of start sweating and you're like, they don't know. No, they know. They're just giving you an opportunity to kind of get it out there in the open, right? So I had this happen to me personally. I was in a one-on-one meeting with Pastor Matt where we talked through ministry, goals, and updates and all that good stuff. And towards the end, Pastor Matt very casually said, "So did you get another animal?" Now, let me be clear. I probably should have also said that another way to identify if something in your life is not normal is when you are embarrassed for other people to find out about that thing, okay? So I have a huge heart for animals, and I definitely, had maybe added to our little pet family. And I was trying to think through my response. Our kids are best friends, and so they're together all the time, so I know Joshua's over there snitching, basically, And so I tell him, I did get another animal. And then he responds with, just one? Well, there's like two. It's kind of like a buy one, get one kind of thing, So saving money, guys, right? Can we celebrate it from that standpoint? But see, I knew when I answered him, I knew it wasn't going to stop there. I knew he was highlighting and it was pointing to the fact that he saw something in my life that was not normal. And I knew it was going to lead to a more in-depth, fun, challenging conversation, guys. So let's go back to this man. How did he respond? Do you want to be well? Verse 7, the sick man answered him, Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water stirred up. But while I'm going, another one steps down before me. Guys, who answers like that? Like Jesus didn't say, why haven't you been healed, right? He said, do you want to be healed? So we would think that the response would be, yep, me, right here. Jesus, I'm right here. Yes, I'm all in. But he doesn't. He is so consumed with himself that I wonder if he wasn't even clearly hearing Jesus because he was so focused on himself. That over the past 38 years, he has allowed his circumstances and his situation to place him in a victim mentality. Poor me. Well, funny you should ask, okay? Let me tell you why, okay? It's these people over here, they don't help me. They walk right past me, rude. And then the people over there, oh yeah, you saw this one celebrating, thinking they're gonna be healed and stuff. They definitely pushed me out of the way to get there, okay? Can we talk about why it's everybody else's fault but mine? Can I highlight that the reason I'm sitting here, it's all about me. It's me. It's interesting that Jesus is right before him. He's not hearing him clearly. He surely doesn't know who this man is. And again, he's so consumed with his present circumstances and how everybody else has let him down and all the things that he doesn't even realize that something has shifted, that there's something coming. And I know, guys, right? None of us ever respond like that, right? None of us do. I realize that while I may not have sat on a mat sick for 38 years, I have my own version of that mat. See, the version of my mat looks a little bit like this. Let me first tell you, so we all have spiritual giftings, right? Like maybe hospitality or generosity. One of my spiritual giftings is compassion. And that's great when I am walking in sync with God with it, right? It's a beautiful thing. But then when I allow my compassion to operate out of its, kind of like in its own thing, and I allow it to move untethered and unchecked by the Holy Spirit, all of a sudden, this thing that was meant to be a beautiful gift is now destructive. It's now something that, by the way, when I operate in compassion and I'm doing it in a healthy way, it's a blessing to my family. When I operate in compassion and I am unchecked by the Holy Spirit, it hinders and is not a blessing to my family. And in fact, I find myself, when I am unchecked, that I actually get in the way and try to do things that actually hinder a person's growth and in their relationship with God. That's painful. I remember this one particular time where I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and it was right before my deployment that I was feeling so much anxiety and just so much fear, specifically because we had a 14-month-old daughter. That's our oldest, Annie. And I felt like she was so young, she wasn't gonna understand. And I was so worried that she was gonna think that I abandoned her. And so I was carrying all of this weight. And because I never learned at the moment how to sit with God in that, or how to let my community around me in and know what I'm going through so that way they can sit with me and pray with me and be there with me, I was overwhelmed by these feelings. And so I was like, okay, let me fix it. Wait, I can't fix this. So I need to control something, right? So let's see. You know what? Let's just get out of the house. We'll go for a drive, right? By the way, anybody else in this room, you kind of know you have a tendency to kind of like control a little bit? Okay, some of you are honest, and then for the rest of you, your spouses were like, yeah, this one right here. So I leave the house with Annie, and I tell Jose, look, I'm gonna go pick up like some Taco Bell, okay? We'll be back in a little bit. We start driving, and I happen to see there's a PetSmart. And like any normal person, I pull into a parking spot to go in just to look, okay, just to look. Did I already tell you guys I was kind of like in an emotional place at this point? And so we go in, and I mean, it's kind of like blurry how it happened, but I walk out with a pet rat, okay? And so I think we have, so this is kind of how, in my head, I started kind of like sweat a little bit, and I'm like, oh man, like I wonder what like Jose's reaction is gonna be to this. I don't think he's gonna be really happy. And so then I started trying to convince myself, or maybe he'll be like this girl that's like so happy as like the little rat's like nuzzling, by the ear and stuff, And so I really kind of tried to hold on to that belief that maybe they would be like best friends. Maybe it was like a blessing, right? And so as I'm driving, I'm starting to sweat a little bit about it. So I'm like, oh man, okay, I'm gonna go pick up the Taco Bell. Right, I'll give him the Taco Bell first. Let's kind of like ease our way into it. I pass this store and I'm like, oh man, I'm starting to get a little nervous about, I don't know that he's gonna be as excited as I imagined he would be. So I go into the store and I grab like some of his favorite candy, like a bookstore gift card, because he loves to read. And so I was like, I'll give him those things first. So I pull up to the house, I get out of the car, and he, starts walking over to me, and I was like, hey, so I have a surprise for you. And I have like the Taco Bell in one hand, all like this whole bag full of goodies in here. And there's a gift card in here, and I have like another surprise for you. And he just looks at me for a second. It's like all of a sudden he registered. I guess I'm not as like smooth as I think I am, okay? And his eyes close. Amanda, please do not tell me you have a dog in that car. Okay, and now I'm like, whew, all right, this is good. Let him think like the worst case scenario, right? Nope, not a dog. You feel better now, right? And he's like, Amanda, don't tell me there's a cat in that car. Nope, there's not a cat, right? So we're feeling better now. He's like, Amanda, please do not tell me you have any living, breathing creature in that car. Well, funny that you should say that, I did, bring a new little addition to our family, but here's our pet rat, but I named him after you, okay? He wasn't amused by that. The treats that I had stopped and picked up were quickly forgotten about, and another unfun conversation had to take place after that. So, but anyways, he was a really, really cute rat. Wait, really quick side note. Did you know that there's different kinds of rats, right? So this one was a fancy rat, the kind that have like those thick tails. It was just so cute. It was so adorable. But anyways, guys, okay, we're getting distracted. Let's focus in. So one of the things that I realize is that probably about 98% of the time when I pick up the phone to call Jose, because, by the way, I thought I had improved because now I don't just get animals without asking him. Now I ask him. So I'm like, there's some improvement there, right? And so when I pick up the phone, it's because I may have liked like every animal shelter, every like animal rescue group kind of thing, probably within like 100 miles, And I just kind of like to go on and browse, and you see their cute little faces, and then if I'm feeling sad that day, I might be like, oh, like we could help this dog, And so I call Jose, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I was just driving, and you're not gonna believe what I just found. There is a dog on the side of the road, okay? I am pulled over, I'm walking alongside the highway, okay? And I am trying to get this dog before it gets hit. Amanda, are you listening to me right now? Yeah, but okay, so it's this tiny little dog, and I can't tell if it has a collar on. Amanda, keep driving. Get in the vehicle. Why on earth are you pulled over on the highway? That is so dangerous. Get in that car and drive. No, but you don't understand. Like, he looks so scared. His little tail's like tucked between his legs, And it's like I'm having this conversation with him, and yet it sounds a lot like the man who's sitting by the water when Jesus is sitting there talking to him, and he's not even listening, registering the fact of what's about to happen, of the conversation that's happening, because he's so focused on himself. It's like that, so it translates to when I'm talking with Jose, and I'm so focused on my need being met because I can't control this particular thing in my life right now, so I've got to control something, so let me just go and try to rescue this animal over here, okay? I can control that. And yet, he's sitting here and he's telling me no, but I'm continuing. And then I like to justify it by, after 1,000 times that he tells me no, he finally says yes, but it's not in a, yeah, let's do this, I'm so excited, bring that little dog over here. It's not like that. It's in a, okay, fine, Amanda, you know what, you're already gonna do it anyway, so just do what you want. But in my head, I'm like, hey, he said yes. He said yes, guys, so we're good. Do you see now why God got my attention so quickly when I was being so critical of the woman of our, an extended family member? Because I'm being so critical of her, but I'm doing the exact same thing in my own marriage. Do you want to be healed? It's easy sometimes for us to think that my answer would be yes. But in reality, a lot of times to get to the place of unhealth that we've arrived at, it's cost us something to get to this point, and it's going to cost us something to get out of this. Let's see what Jesus' response to him was. In verse 8, we see, "Rise, take up your bed, and walk." And immediately the man was made well, took up his bed, and walked. It cost him something. He had to rise. He had to stand up and separate himself from the thing that he has used to justify everything that's happened in his life, from the victim mentality. I hope Scripture doesn't tell us what happened afterwards, what happened after he received this amazing gift. But I hope that afterwards, he was so thankful, so excited, so eager to share this gift with others that every single day he went back to find the person that was lying on their mat and to tell them, hey, hold on. The healing you're looking for, it's not in this water. The healing you're looking for is not in shopping. The healing you're looking for is not in animals. The healing you're looking for is not in substances or alcohol. It's not in food. It's not in sex. The healing that you're looking for comes from Jesus. Let me tell you about this man. Let me tell you what he's done in my life. I was sick for 38 years. I was so consumed with myself. You know what? I didn't even seek him out. He sought me out. He came here for me. So I'm coming here today for you just like Jesus has come here for me. What do we do with the gifts that God has given us? Do we say, thank you, God, And then we get caught up in the normalcy and in the busyness of life that those gifts start to get buried. When was the last time we told somebody else about that gift? Students, I want to talk to you guys for just a second. You guys just came back from Motion Conference. That is so amazing. I've already begun to hear stories of things that God has done there, how he has met you, the healing, just encountering his presence for the first time, the students that gave their lives to Jesus. Wow, what amazing gifts. But now you have a choice. What am I gonna do with the gift that he has just given me? Am I going to fall into the normalcy of life, and a week from today, I've already forgotten what Jesus did and how he met me here? Or am I gonna remember that when I walk into school tomorrow, that there's going to be somebody in my class that experienced loss over summer? There's going to be somebody in my class that their family just got divorced. There's going to be somebody in my class that has contemplated suicide. And I am holding a gift. There is a reason that Jesus has put together the people in my room so I can pray for them, so I can minister to them, so I can be kind to them. And so that way, when we're all out at a friend's house and one of them starts, picking up to drink, pick up a drink or, beer, whatever, that I'm not going to look just like them. I'm going to show them that there's another way. And I'm going to show them that when you follow Jesus, you are set apart. And then I think about that one that sees you making a different choice that is so incredibly hard for you, maybe in that moment, and you want to just be able to just jump in with everybody else, but you know that Jesus is saying, nope, that's not for you anymore. That person sees that. The people in your class, they hear you talking about motion. Parents and adults, they hear you talking about how you went to church with your family this past Sunday, and then you're sitting there trashing your boss. They see it. They are looking at us to see, what does following Jesus look like? What are we gonna do with the gift? Are we gonna step outside of our comfort zone because we've experienced an amazing healing and redemption in our marriage? So we are gonna co-lead a marriage life group this semester because we wanna help other people experience the same freedom, the same healing that we've experienced in our marriage. Or maybe God has healed you from addiction. And this semester, you're so nervous, but you're gonna step outside your comfort zone. And you're gonna co-lead a freedom group because you wanna help other people experience the same kind of freedom, the same gift that Jesus has given you. Do we wanna be healthy? What are we gonna do with the abnormal things in our lives? I told you guys already about navigating some things that God has been highlighting in my own life. And I just want to say, maybe you think it's easy for me to come up here and share how my choices really dishonored and disrespected my husband and actually created a home that was stressful for him. But it's not. It's actually really hard to do that. But I want to share those things with you so that way maybe you feel encouraged to share with somebody else here, hey, I've been navigating this. I've been dealing with this. Can you help hold me accountable? And they can remind you that you're not alone. Once we've identified that thing, we've got to listen to what God's telling us to do about it. And one of the things that God quickly highlighted, so we have had 2 dogs, and, some cats. I don't think it's important to say how many, I'm still working with Jesus on that. And one of the dogs was a collie, and, really high energy, beautiful, amazing dog. But my husband was literally stressed having to interact with him. Not because he doesn't love animals, he just doesn't love them in the quantity that I do, okay? And as I was having time with God and as I was listening, he pointed his finger on Sam, was like, yep, you've got to rehome him. He can't stay. That's not healthy. And I wish I could tell you I was like the man, wasn't like the man by the water. And then I was like, all right, sounds good. Let's do it, Lord. I'll make some calls today. But instead, I made excuses, and I was like, okay, actually one of the cats that I have is really annoying and I actually really don't like that cat. Can we do a trade? I'll give up the cat, but the dog can stay, and I'll just do a better job of making sure Jose's not having to interact with him as much, okay? But it doesn't work like that, right? We don't get to control the things that God tells us to do. We just get to be obedient and step into it and trust that He's going to make a way and that everything's going to be okay. And I got so caught up in my own thoughts of, oh my goodness, but who's he going to go to? Who's the dog going to go to? And are they going to be able to love him like we do? And all of the things. I can now tell you guys that I finally got over myself, finally got over my excuses, finally was willing to put my husband and my family first to create an environment that my husband wants to come home to, a home where he can relax. And he literally told me that when Sam left, he felt like he was just, his shoulders could even relax more, right? I found an amazing animal rescue. They took Sam in and they've been amazing. They've sent me picture and video updates and just over the top spoiling him. And it's just so cool to see God's goodness and His faithfulness. Here was this thing I was holding on to and worried about, and God already had a plan for that. In just a moment, we're going to get the chance to go have communion, to sit in God's presence. And I would really challenge you, let God speak to you today. I know it's easy to think about the things that we have to do later today. Let's be willing to slow down and sit with Him. And let's ask 3 things. First, Lord, what is the thing in my life that's not normal? Second, what exactly are you telling me to do, Lord? You showed me what it is. What am I supposed to do with this? And then the final thing is, how am I going to respond? Am I going to give excuses? Am I going to be consumed with self? Or am I going to respond with, yes, Lord? And for the person that you're worried you're going to walk through those doors and all of a sudden you're going to second guess and go, God, did you really speak to me about that? I actually don't think you did. My thing's not as weird as Amanda's is, so it's not that bad. Then I would really challenge and encourage you, talk to somebody before you leave. Find a staff member, find a dream team, or find a friend. Find somebody and tell them, look, I'm telling you this now. Okay, I kind of have this weird thing in my life. This is what it is. This is what I feel like God's telling me, and this is going to be my response. Can you help hold me accountable? Let's go ahead and pray. Lord, thank you so much for every single person that's in this room, that's watching online. Lord, I pray that you would take my story and just the work that you've been doing in me, and I pray that you would use that to just encourage somebody else, to remind them that they're not the only weird person in the room and that they don't have to stay in that not normal place, but you are providing a way out. I pray that you would remind each of us that sometimes we can fall under the belief of believing a lie, that this not normal thing is not hurting or affecting anybody else. It's our thing. But if we were really honest with ourselves, we would see and we would recognize that this thing is impacting the people that we're closest to, the people that we love the most. Help us to be willing to be men and women of action, to find freedom and healing. Lord, I pray your protection, your peace, that you would open up our ears to hear your voice, soften our hearts. Help us to be brave, to talk to somebody before we leave and be teachable and allow them to hold us accountable. We love you so much, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. I would just invite everybody to go ahead and feel free to take communion as you are ready.